We live in perilous times. The United States government has updated its guidance for nuclear attack as Russian Strongman Vladimir Putin places Russian nuclear forces on high alert and demonstrating the fearsome tools on this war that is going on against NATO and in Ukraine. Why has the world reached this anticlimax and a possible tragedy? In your personal affairs and in your personal life, are you ready to depart from this planet Earth? What is the cause of this conflict? What can you do in the face of a nuclear attack? Are you ready to die? How do you know that you are ready to die? The title that we want to discuss today is Nuclear War is Here. Are you ready to die? The cause of this conflict is largely the expansion of NATO into Europe as well as Western Russia. Russia didn't like it and doesn't like it. There is an agreement they had that NATO would not expand its influence all over Europe. And NATO simply didn't adhere to that. That's one reason. Money and power and absolute power may be some of the causes of this conflict, but the real culprit or the real cause is in the spiritual realm. The origins of the current events in a historical perspective, as we have already demonstrated, is NATO versus Russia, and Ukraine is just the area of conflict. And Vladimir Putin has demonstrated that he can use force to achieve his agenda. Why has the world reached this anticlimax and possible tragedy? Perhaps it is the deadly alliance between China and Russia and the other powerful countries with nuclear capability that have seen the unipolar world controlled by the United States as a disadvantage to their own expansion. Maybe it is the same forces that could be reshaping the earth that shaped the world during First and Second World War or in ancient times. Who will know except those that look at the actions of events that are happening on earth today? You must prepare for nuclear threat today by being alert and having some form of basic knowledge. There are short-term measures like how you can prevent radiation exposure. It is known that 55% of radiation after an hour is gone and 80% after 24 hours is gone. This is according to Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, which is why it is very important in short term that you stay indoors, that you do not look at the explosion, and that you are covered and you are safe from radiation. There are other short-term plans or mid-term plans like food supply, medical supply, and communication devices to hear and understand what is happening, and also canned foods, sugar, beans, dried foods, pasta, rice, and a lot of fresh water. You should prepare now by identifying location, a shelter, as well as the best place underground where you can go and live for a long time. That is why it is critical and important if you can have a bunker or an underground place where you can go and live. During the attack, nuclear attack, you should avoid looking at the flash of light and keep your mouth open during the blast. You must move to, or you must shelter underground or in buildings high above within 20 to 30 minutes. Move crosswind away from damaged buildings, try to keep skin, mouth and nose covered, remove clothing, rinse off all that you're wearing using hose as soon as possible, and seek medical care if there is a chance that there could be some medical help. These are only short-term mitigating actions to survive a nuclear attack. It is important to avoid nuclear attack, but we are not in a position to avoid it. Even if you survive and are not poisoned by nuclear radiation, civilization and the environment would be decimated. This is when you need to have been ready for death. Maybe this is what you will be wearing, what you can wear for some time. But the straight answer is that if there is a nuclear war or nuclear bombing on Earth, humanity will be gone. So nuclear war is here. Are you ready to die? In your personal affairs, are you ready to depart this planet? If you are ready, it means you already connect and chat and talk and know your revered ancestors, and they are answering you, and therefore guidance is more than ready. Therefore your preparation for eventual departure, whether by nuclear radiation or illness, is on track. You are ready to meet thy ancestors and be judged by thy works. But if you are not totemized and you ignored your totems and you are ignorant of your revered ancestors and there's zero connection to your divinities, it means you are not ready. If you lived a life as a Christian, if you lived a life as a Muslim, as a Jew, or followed any other philosophy other than paying tribute to your ancestors, which is not rocket science, it is common that you are lost. You lived an anti-melanin dominant life. You have to realize that Islam is not an African religion. So to Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, or anything else other than melanin dominant traditional culture, which includes totems and ancestors and divinities. In your personal capacity, you must be ready to depart from this planet Earth by acquiring the switch off memory and switch on capabilities. Upon death, your LCD screens you call eyes flashes in a nanosecond all your life experiences. The flashing is equivalent to a person altering and restoring a phone or computer to its factory defaults. Once the file formatting of the human template is factory resetted back into this reality or reincarnated, all prior memories are wiped to forget almost everything that was experienced in prior life. So this is the trick. Without knowing this, you might be resetting yourself to live again in this planet in the situation that you are facing, which is a nuclear attack. You need another system that will eject you not to default status, but to the next level, which is the afterlife. It is critical for us to know the deepest truths you may never easily know. You go to Life, the Life on Facebook, you study all this. Yes, the threat of nuclear war is here. Are you ready to die? You could be ready if your African concepts of divinity, spirits, ancestors, magic, and medicine are active in your life now. You also need death passwords. You must acquire a certain type of basic knowledge now. Know that death is really rebirth, as we have already indicated above, when you switch off and life flashes on your LCD screen to download. That's where you need the trigger to cross by the celestial rivers of Nemachka into the land of the West, into the realm of the ancestors, and they pass through the gates and labyrinths by answering questions, Mahatic confessions, and naming the 42 divinities, being led into the court of the underworld by the god Anubisa, because your free will then has ejected you not to default status but to ascension status. And then you go through judgment, and if your heart is okay and your works are good, the judge Ausari will allow you to enter into the fields of the rites, Nikadzimu, and get eternal life, or another assignment back to earth, or to another realm. Now, your tomb and funeral rites are the final point of contact between your mortal life and the immortal. It's another step. The first one is the actual instant of you dying and the flashing of that life on your LCD screen for either default back to earth or ascension. Now, this is the burial process now of the corpse for empowering your resurrection or mbuiso or chenuro. If you had lived a life, a cultural and spiritual congruent life, as a muntu, your grave must be empowered to transport you from the silence of immobility in death into the realm of your ancestors. What you are doing today must be in preparation of your eventual departure, whether by nuclear radiation or illness or otherwise. Are you ready to meet thy ancestors and be judged by thy works? What if tomb and funeral rites cannot be performed for your departure because of nuclear radiation and nuclear bombing and nuclear attack? What are you going to do? For more information about this scenario, and if you want dynamic details on this scenario, send your specific email to join@marifado.com. It is only our Cushitic, Comitic, Maati, Ubuntu, Bantu spirituality that guarantees all melanin dominant human practitioners freedom, self-reliance, and afterlife that is not only superior to all these other religions, but is capable and able to rescue members out of the situation of a material nuclear disaster and destructive forces that are facing the earth today. If you would like personal or counsel about how to walk your natural melanin dominant cultural and spiritual congruence and connect with others who are already practicing these things and these powerful philosophies, again, send us an email to join@marifado.com. Yes, you may not survive a nuclear attack, but you can be more than sure and be guaranteed for any eventuality if anything is to happen on the earth. We have shared short-term and mid-term survival tactics. But if an all nuclear war breaks out, there is no way of surviving it or being buried properly. But at least we have information of how you can survive that and be ready to meet your ancestors and the divinities. This is the real what to do if a worst case nuclear scenario actually takes place. Till we meet again, Yohama Neja Topi Kunikeni Tumizulu Mjakanja, saying have a great day, Tatenda Siabonga, Asante Sana, Enkos Edupe. Thank you.